So if you've watched our content before, maybe this is the first time you're ever watching our YouTube channel. My name is Joe Schmitz. I'm the CEO and founder of Peak Retirement Planning. We actually specialize in helping those who have been diligent savers, and a lot of people who work with us have pensions. And so that's the type of planning we do. And so you've probably watched my videos that involve pensions, or maybe you've read my book that's called I Hate Taxes, or you've read my Kiplinger who says, I love Roth conversions and Roth IRAs. And so you can see I'm pretty extreme with the word love and hate. And so today I'm going to talk about why I love pensions and also why I hate pensions. And so I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I love pensions, and I'm going to give you 2 reasons why I hate pensions. And so understand that there's 5 to 2 here, which means that in my mind, having a pension is an awesome thing. And so if you have a pension, it's a great thing to have. So we're going to talk about the advantages of that, but also going to talk about the 2 things that you need to plan for. So let's get pension planning here.
Joe knows taxes.
Joe knows the market.
Joe knows Social Security.
Joe knows income planning.
Joe knows pickleball? No.
This is Joe Knows Retirement.
So the first reason why I'm a big fan of pensions is because of the value. If you have a pension, you have a lot of value in that if you live a long retirement. If you have a pension that spits you out $5,000 a month, then in my mind, you have probably approximately $1.5 million is what that would be equivalent to if someone said, I want to take $1.5 million and I want to take $5,000 out of a month. I would tell them they need around $1.5 million to comfortably do that over the next 30 years. And the reason that comes about is what's called the 4% rule. So the 4% rule says that if you take out 4% from your investments over your retirement, then that's what's going to allow you to not run out of money. Now, it's not a perfect rule of thumb, but it does give you an idea and a frame of reference to look at. So we don't just use that 4% rule when we're calculating people's retirement, but it does give you an idea of how much a pension is really worth. And I did just a short 2-minute video where I actually went through some case study here, just a real quick one to show how valuable this is. So I'd recommend you watch that to get a better feel of how valuable a pension can be. And the longer you live, the more valuable it can be. Now you have to watch out if there's no inflation adjustment to that. Maybe it's not going to be worth as long, but if you get $60,000 a year, over 10 years, that's $600,000 of payments that you're going to get. If you go 20 years, that's $1.2 million of payments you're going to get. So if you don't even have any inflation, you're going to still accumulate a lot of money from this. And so that's one reason why I love pensions. The second reason why I love pensions is because there's no worries about the market going down. And so if you have your money guaranteed to come to you every single month, then you're not having to worry about the market being down and now you can't live on as much money. That money is going to be guaranteed to you throughout your lifetime. And so your planning gets a little more simpler, gets a little more comfortable, and it's going to allow you to not have to stress about seeing that market go down 50% like it did in 2008. You're going to have that comfort and peace of mind to be able to spend when you want. So the third concern in retirement is guaranteed income. And so that kind of plays a part in that point 2 that I just shared. So the fourth reason why I love pensions is to allow your investments to grow for a legacy. And so if you have a pension, you may have all those paychecks covered like I just talked about. Well, now you can either use your investments for paychecks, or you can use it to build wealth for either generational planning or maybe more to charities. You're going to have more flexibility to give that money how you want to. And so that could either be you spending it more or you giving more. And so that's what you have the ability to decide for yourself. And that money can really compound and grow if you're not going to touch it. If you have $1 million today, in 12 years, if you just see a 6% rate of return, that money will double. And so if you have 1 million, you'll have 2 million. And then 12 more years, you would have 4 million. And so if you live a 24-year retirement, it's not outside the realm of possibility that you could really accumulate a lot of wealth over time to leave a really generous legacy to a loved one. Maybe it's to make sure your spouse is taken care of. Maybe that you don't have a survivorship option on your pension. That could help provide for that. Maybe it's you leaving money to the kids, grandkids, whatever it may be. Just understand the impact that you have there over time. And so you can really plan accordingly. But I'd recommend you start being proactive there to make sure that you can plan in advance to set things up the right way. And the fifth reason why I love pensions is simply because it's unique. Not everyone has a pension. Less than 20% have it. And so if you do, consider yourself special. Consider yourself with having a leg up on the others out there that do not have a pension. And we know that pensions used to be very popular, and now they're less popular. And so, a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Z, they may not even know what the word pension means, or they may be confused about the word pension. But for your generation, some of you are still seeing the benefits of pensions from all those years of work. And so for you, consider yourself special. Your retirement's going to be a lot more enjoyable. It's going to be a lot more predictable. And in my opinion, for the generations to come, retirement's going to be a lot harder for them because they're now responsible for their retirement. And with inflation and some of the other concerns we're seeing, it's going to be harder for them to save enough money to live the retirement. And so that's why you need to make sure you use the pension the right way and really enjoy the benefits that you get over your retirement. So those are all the positives about pensions. So what are these two things that I hate about pensions? And remember, I'm not saying I hate it so much that it's terrible if you have a pension. It's just the two things that we need to plan for. And the one thing is that you're going to have a big tax problem. Obviously having a big tax problem can be a good thing because that means you have more money. It means you have more income. But I don't know about you. Like I said earlier, I wrote a book called I Hate Taxes. It was an Amazon bestseller. And I want to make sure that I pay less in taxes over my retirement, especially if I've been a diligent saver and I've done the right thing up to this point. And so because of that, you need to be aware of higher R&D amounts. So you're going to be required to pull out more money from your IRAs or your 401ks or your tax-deferred investments. And that may force yourself into higher tax brackets when you withdraw that money because your pension and Social Security and that is going to push you up income brackets. And so just making sure you're getting ahead of that, things like a qualified charitable distribution, things like Roth conversions, tax location of your investments is going to be very important for you to save money on taxes over time. So that's a big one. And then also your Social Security may be fully taxable at this point by having this big tax problem because your income is going to be higher. Social Security, to decide if it's taxable or not, is based on your provisional income. And based on your provisional income, if that's higher, then up to 85% of your Social Security benefit could be taxable as income. And so just be aware that you may not get as much as your Social Security check. There is some planning that you could do to back you off of that issue with Social Security, where your Social Security could either be tax-free or less taxable. But just understand with pensions, it's going to be harder to plan, and you want to expect to pay more in Social Security tax for most people is what we see. And then also Medicare premiums. It's never fun to pay more for health insurance but get the same coverage as your friends. And so for those who maybe don't have as much saved or those who don't have a pension, they may end up not paying more for Medicare in retirement. But for you, you may find yourself into tier 2 or tier 3 of Medicare, where now with all those income sources playing together, you're going to be forced with a higher income, which means you're going to have to pay more for health insurance but get the same coverage. And so that's something you can plan for in advance, again, with those strategies we mentioned earlier, especially a Roth conversion. We're seeing a lot of success with Roth conversions now, especially if you can get ahead of it and be proactive in your planning. And remember, next 2 years, tax rates are lower. I talk about that in my book, and I talk about it in a lot of the videos we do here. And so you can save a lot of money in taxes just by planning over these next 2 years. So again, something I hate about pensions, but it's nothing that should scare you. Just by doing proactive tax planning, if you implement these strategies the right way, then you can significantly decrease your tax burden throughout retirement. But we got to get tax planning with a pension. I mean, I write a lot of articles for Kiplinger on this topic of tax planning with pensions. We do a lot of videos on our YouTube page about this, and it's important. You're going to have more of a tax problem than your friends who don't have a pension. And so you can either continue to be a diligent planner throughout your retirement, or you can just hope for the best and not do any tax planning strategies. But if you do it that way, you're probably going to end up paying more in taxes over time. And so I've never met someone with a pension who tells me they don't feel like they're overpaying in taxes. And so if you feel like you're overpaying in taxes, that can change by implementing the right strategies. But it's all about understanding, what does the tax code say? The tax code has a lot of words in there. But the key is you've got to open it up and see what's in there for you. What opportunities, what loopholes are in there that are legal that you can start implementing today to set yourself up for success. And a good resource for you to start with is the book I actually wrote. Not necessarily saying that to have all you go buy my book. We'll actually give it away to you. If you just look in the description, there should be a link there, and we'll be happy to send you a book. But in that book is a lot of different strategies that you can start implementing today to pay less in taxes, especially if you do have a pension. And the second item, the other item why I hate pensions, is because you can't give it to your kids. And there is a way you could give it to your kids, which we'll talk about, that is not for everyone, but maybe your pension offers it. But typically there's no survivorship option to give behind. Some do, but not all of them. And typically there are survivorship options to leave behind to your spouse, but if you choose that, typically it's going to cost you something, and it could give you less in income over your retirement. So could still be worthwhile to take that survivorship option. It just depends on the amount you've saved and the difference in ages and health of your spouse, and are they going to be good if you don't select it. So there's a lot of analysis that goes involved in there. But again, that's a decision you have to make before you elect your pension. So if you have already taken your pension, you may not have a choice there. Before your pension, make sure you really run through what options you have there so you're making the right decision. But if your goal, again, is to leave money to the kids, well, you get $60,000 pension a year, that's great, but you pass away early and you're single, well then how great was it really? And so something we see, something that if you haven't elected your pension yet, is maybe you look at taking a lump sum option. Now, we don't always recommend this. We always run calculations and analysis to see if it makes sense, but it could be useful to just take a lump sum or maybe even a partial lump sum. And this would mean that maybe you get no pension ongoing, but you get a large sum of money up front that you can invest in your way and try to impact it that way. And the reason why you would do this is to allow it to be in your hands. So now you can give the money to the kids when they pass. So if you pass, the money then can go to your kids versus the pension, it can't go to the kids. So that's one benefit. Another benefit, which again, I'm not a big believer of, there's some people out there that are bigger believers than me, that pensions will go away. Some pensions are struggling, they could go away, and so if you get it in your hands, you wouldn't have to worry about that concern. Again, I would watch making that decision in an emotional way. I'd really do your research on that pension fund, and a lot of them are underfunded, but there's things in place that if it did go away, there's still some things that could cover that and ensure you're still protected. So just be aware of that as you make that decision. But also, with interest rates the way they are right now, you could maybe take that lump sum or that partial lump sum and invest it in something else that can guarantee an income for life. And maybe the income is going to be higher than what your pension would be. Again, not always the case, but definitely worth running the numbers before you make that decision. And again, in that instance, maybe you can spend it down as income guaranteed for life, and then something's still left to the kids if you predecease. So again, you could maybe get higher income, but also there could be something left to the kids there. So just have to do your research, and there's some other features and options out there to look into, but just be very careful when making that decision, because obviously you can't go back. And so you want to make sure you show the pros and cons and make the decision that's going to be best for you and your family moving forward. So those are the reasons why I love pensions and also why I hate pensions. But I got to watch using the word hate with pensions. It's almost a curse word because they are very valuable. And if you have a pension, consider yourself very blessed and lucky to have a very good retirement ahead of you, is what I would guess, especially if you've done a great job of saving money over time. And so if you're looking for more videos on pensions and you really like the type of content we're producing here, go ahead and subscribe to our page. And that's going to allow you to get reminders of all the content we produce. And I'd also recommend you go back. If you just hit the popular videos on our page, on the Peak Retirement page, you'll be able to see all of our top videos on pensions. And there's some good ones there. I know I'm biased because I'm the one who did them, but you're going to get a lot of value out of those as you plan for your retirement. And if there's anything we can do here, feel free to comment or reach out to us, and we'll make sure that we can either provide different videos that you're looking for, or help you in any way. We can set up a call and see if we can help you ongoing as well. So as I always say, get planning with your pensions, and we'll see you on the next one.